I don't think that humans should worship God. I think God should worship humans for surviving this hell that He has created for us. And that's if He really did exist. I'm talking about the Abrahamic God. The reason why I'm talking about the Abrahamic God is because He's the most evil God. Humans have made up a lot of gods that are evil, but the Abrahamic God is the most evil God that humans have ever made up. He's the most evil God. Isn't it weird to you that the most evil God is the most popular God in this world? I mean, think about it. Of all the gods that humans have made up, humans happened to believe in the one that is more evil than the other gods that they've made up. Isn't it weird though? I mean, that tells us a lot about ourselves. We probably thought the other gods were too soft. One thing that you must realize about humans is that they worship a God that they see themselves in. That's something that you must realize. Humans worship a God that they see themselves in. So if they're evil, they're going to worship an evil God. They're not going to worship a good God. Why would they worship a God that is good if they're evil? Because a God that is good will be against the things that they do, the things that are evil that they'll be doing. You'll be against those things. They're going to worship a God that's going to send the people that they hate to hell. And they will think that that is okay because they are evil, you see. A lot of people who do not believe in the Abrahamic God do not believe in the Abrahamic God simply because he's too evil. They don't believe in the Abrahamic God simply because he's too evil. They can see that he's evil. I mean, think about it. Why would you worship a God that is more evil than you are? Why would you be worshiping that God in the first place? If I know that I'm kind, I don't want to see people burn in hell for eternity. I don't want to see my enemies burn in hell for eternity. You know, there are a lot of people that have had me in this world, but I wouldn't want to see them burn in hell for eternity. But this God cannot really forgive these people. And you might say, oh, actually, He sent His only Son to die for their sins. Like, don't you see that that's manipulation? Don't you see that's manipulation? That's like if you're dating a person that's very, very toxic, that does things that you didn't even ask them to do. Look at all the things that I've done for you, and you still don't love me. Yeah. That's just manipulation, man. That's how they present it. He loved us so much that He sent His only Son to die for our sins. And like, why didn't He just forgive us? Like, did He really need to send someone to die for us? That's blackmail if you think about it. You know, He's just blackmailing us. That's emotional blackmail. We're supposed to feel guilty now, like, His Son died for our sins. You know, he died for, you know what I mean? That's manipulation at its highest level. When you really think about it, it is a good thing that this God does not exist. It is a good thing that this God is totally made up. That is a good thing. I mean, imagine if He really, really, really did exist. We'll all be fucked. Humanity will be fucked. Humanity will be fucked. Because that will mean that the people that we love, the people that we care about, are going to burn for eternity in hell. Let me tell you something. There isn't anything that you can do in this world that will make you deserving of hell. I want you to understand that. There isn't anything that you can do in this world that will actually justify hell. Hell isn't justified. I mean, we're only here for like like an average person will be here maybe for how long? Maybe 60, 70 years. And you ban for eternity. For a life that you didn't even ask for. I mean, nobody asked for this. It doesn't make any sense. And when you really think about it, there ain't people that really, really believe in the Abrahamic God. You see that when they're facing real situations, that they don't really believe in this God. You see that when they're facing real situations. Remember what happened in 2020? The whole world was in quarantine. Even the people that believe in this God. I mean, that was the time for them to show us that He really does exist. That was the time for them to show us that He's really that powerful. He's really what they say He is. But everyone went in quarantine. That should tell you something. Because when they're dealing with real situations, they forget that He exists. I mean, really, if they really believe that this God exists, would they have listened to what their leaders were saying? Or they would have prayed. They would have been strong. They would have had faith that actually He's going to change things. He's not going to let us suffer. And even if we do suffer, we'll be suffering for the greater good. But they showed us that they're cowards. They showed us that they don't really believe in this God. That should tell you something. I mean, that was the time when God really had to show us who He was. I mean, we were dealing with a common problem. This whole world was dealing with a common problem. Wasn't that the perfect time for Christians to show us that no, actually there is a God, and this God really cares about humanity. You just need to believe in Him, and He's going to save humanity. You see? But they didn't even put up a fight. When their leaders said all churches must be closed, they didn't even put up a fight. Like, I didn't see that. There was only maybe in South Africa, maybe there's only like maybe 2-3 famous pastors that were against the whole thing. There's this lady, her name is Pastor Makuba. Yeah, she fought with the police. She even got arrested. But she's not the only Christian in this world. That's something that you must understand. In South Africa, like more than 70% of people are actually Christians. So they should have fought to show us that actually what we believe in is true. We stand for what is true. We're strong enough to stand for what we believe in. We're not gonna let people make us feel like we must blend in and just be like everyone else. No, actually we must fight for what is true. That makes a lot of sense if you really, really think about it. But yeah, man. Humans shouldn't be worshiping God. God should be worshiping humans for surviving this hell that He has created for us. Because we really have suffered in this world. Humanity has suffered in this world. They didn't even ask to be here. They just found themselves here suffering. And they don't really know what is going on. That's another thing that you must realize. Even the people that claim to believe in the Abrahamic God don't really know what's going on. They deep down they know that they've been lied to, but they gotta believe in something. God should be looking at us like, yo, look at that 12-year-old girl. She's suffering from cancer and she's being strong. She's fighting. He should be looking at people that are living in poverty. Because one thing that you must realize about being poor is that you really do go through a lot. I mean, money is power. If you don't have money, humans are going to show you their true colors. Humans don't give a fuck about people who are broke. If you don't have money, humans are really going to show you their true colors. So if you are living in poverty, you really, really do go through a lot. If you are really living in poverty, you go through a lot. There are people who grew up in poverty and who are going to die in poverty. These are the people that know what suffering is. God should be looking at them like, wow, these people are strong, these people are resilient. God should be looking at people who are lonely, people that are hated in this world, people that are not loved in this world. Because there are people that are hated in this world. Not because they've done anything wrong, they just hated. People don't love them, because we're selfish, we're mean. There are people that are lonely in this world, people that are not loved. The people that claim to love them just use them. They have to deal with that. That's something that we must understand. There are a lot of people that are going through that. And they've had to go through that. Since they were here, they had to go through that. You understand? There are people that had to deal with not being loved. There are people who had to deal with being hated. Since they were born, they had to deal with that. Maybe they were born in a very toxic family. Imagine a person born in a very toxic family. The people that are supposed to love them don't love them. When they go out into the world does not love them. Imagine that. They have to deal with that until they die. God should be looking at those people like, wow, that's one resilient motherfucker. We're the ones that are dealing with each other's bullshit here. Because humans are full of shit. That's another thing that Dude, I can't believe that I accidentally stopped recording. It's probably God warning me. But yeah, we must realize that people are going through a lot in this world. Life is not easy. Life is not easy. We just found ourselves in this world that we don't really, really understand, and we have no choice but to be here and deal with life. There are a lot of people who don't really want to be here, but they feel like they don't have a choice, so they gotta deal with life. They're not here because life is good. They know life isn't good. They know that humans are selfish. They know that there isn't anything that we're doing that is meaningful. They know that they're just trying to minimize their own suffering. They're not really doing the things that they're doing because they really enjoy doing these things, but they're trying to minimize their own suffering. Because if you don't do anything in this world, you just suffer. If you just don't do anything, you just suffer. So you have no choice but to try to do things that are going to minimize your suffering. So God should be looking at us like, yo, these humans are so strong. They are so strong to be surviving the things that they are surviving. They're so strong to still be believing in me, because there are people who are worshipping this God. Now, these people are really strong to be believing in me, even though I'm evil, you know. Remember, human beings are attracted to power. Like I told you before, that the people that are worshipping this Christian God, this Abrahamic God, they're not worshipping this God because he's good. They're like, okay, we're looking for a God that is good, a God that cares about humanity, a God that's going to save humanity. No. If you're a Christian and you're watching this, ask yourself why you believe in God. Do you really believe in God because he's good? Do you really hate the devil because he's evil? Really? You see, there's a reason why you're not afraid of the devil. You know, because you're telling yourself that, oh, the devil is... Like, if the devil was evil and he was running shit here, you would be afraid of him. You're a coward. Stop lying to yourself. Human beings are cowards. I know that. So, you will be afraid of the devil. You'll be really, really afraid of the devil. Human beings are afraid of witches, man. Christians are afraid of witches. I know that. They're cowards, bruh. They only pretend to not be afraid of witches. No, they believe in witches. They believe that witches exist. They only pretend to not be afraid of witches when they are in church. Because they feel brave. You know, they feel brave in large numbers. When they are alone, they are really, really afraid of witches. They'll be complaining about witches all the time. They are even afraid of borrowing other people's things. They're even afraid of helping other people. Like, hey, what if that person is a witch? What if that person is a witch? Like, I mean, if your God exists and he wants you to help other people, why should you be afraid? So don't let them lie to you. They're afraid of witches. They're cowards. So why ain't they afraid of the devil? They're not afraid of the devil because if he really did exist, he would be the good guy. They're afraid of God. You know, even the Bible says that you must fear God. Why should you fear God? Why should you fear someone that is really good, someone that's really kind? If you are kind in this world, no one is going to be afraid of you. So why should we fear an entity that is supposed to be kind? You know, if this entity really did exist and Christians were actually worshipping this entity because he's good, he would be the kindest entities ever. Like, he will be better than we are. Like, he will be very, very good compared to us. So we wouldn't need to be afraid of him. That's something that you must understand. So really, the truth is that they are worshipping this God because they know, oh, no, they don't know, but they believe that he's going to help them. He's going to choose them and bless them. They even say these things in their churches. They even say these things in their churches. God is going to prepare a table for you in front of your enemies, in front of your imaginary enemies. Because a lot of people in this world actually have imaginary enemies. They tell themselves that everyone is their enemy. So when they succeed, they say, oh, God has prepared a table for me in front of my enemies. My enemies that are imaginary, like they are gods. There are people in this world that actually create their enemies. What I mean is that there are people that are so fucking mean and selfish that they make people hate them. And then they say, oh, these people are my enemy, these people are my enemy. No. Actually, these people just hate you because you're an asshole. What we must realize is that it is actually a good thing that the Christian God does not exist, because if it really did exist, we will all be fucked. Doesn't matter what you believe. Even if you're a Christian, you'll be fucked. You'd have to be worshipping this God forever. Imagine that. Because that's what, you're supposed to be doing in heaven. I mean, do you really love worshipping God, or are you worshipping God because you believe that He's gonna help you? You believe that if you cry and you tell Him that He's great, you tell Him that there isn't any other God that's like Him. I mean, think about it. A God that wants to be worshipped. For what? Bro, let me tell you a secret. I hate being given compliments. Hate is a strong word. Let me say, I don't like being given compliments. I don't like it when people say, oh, you're well dressed today. I don't like it when people say you're kind. I don't like it when people say you're intelligent, you are real, you're this. Like, I don't like that. And I refuse to believe that a God that is good would like that. A God that is good will actually like seeing humans saying, oh, you're wonderful. Like, that's a demon, dude. Don't you see? Think about it. Like, why would a God that is sexual? And I'm not saying that I'm good. I'm an asshole. I'm not going to lie to you. Because some people will look at me and be like, oh, he's a good person. Like, no, I'm not. I'm just conscious. And I see things as they are. That doesn't mean that I'm a good person. I mean, because I'm aware of what's really going on, because I'm conscious of a lot of things, I might not be causing the amount of harm that humans that are ignorant are causing. But that doesn't mean that I'm a good person. I don't think that you can be a good person. I don't think it's possible. Human beings are selfish. Human beings are limited. That's something that you must understand. So I don't think that you can be a good person. But what I'm trying to say to you is that only a demon would want to be worshipped. That's what I'm trying to say to you. There isn't a person that's interested in doing things that are good. There isn't a person that's interested in becoming better. A person that's not interested in controlling other people, that would want to be worshipped. You want to be worshipped for what? Think about it. There isn't a God that would want to be worshipped by people if he's good. Worship for what? Because you've created this hell that we find ourselves in, so we must worship you for what? Does that make you feel good? When you think about it, it's not supposed to make God feel good. But yeah, Christians are worshiping this God. They're worshiping this God. That's because life is hard. So they want a savior. Life is hard, so they want a savior. Oh, it's getting dark. What time is it? It's weird, man. Dude, it's 19 past 5. What the hell? Alright, I had to change the exposure settings. Look, we need to be honest with ourselves. We really need to be honest with ourselves. If we keep on lying to ourselves, you know what's gonna happen? Things are going to continue to be messed up. If we refuse to be honest with ourselves, we're gonna pay the price of lying to ourselves. If we see what's going on and we still continue to lie to ourselves, still continue to live a life, of course we're going to pay the price. There's no way around it. If there's something that's going on that's going to cause problems in the future that you choose to ignore, doesn't mean that it's not going to cause problems in the future. It's going to cause problems in the future, because just because you're ignoring it does not mean that it isn't there. You see? That's something that we must understand. So just because we're ignoring what's happening in this world, just because we're living a lie, just because we're worshipping false gods, does not mean that things are going to be better. You're going to continue to suffer, man. There's a reason why you're not seeing miracles. You're not seeing miracles because prayer does not work. Now let me tell you this. Miracles do exist in this world. Like, things that ain't supposed to happen are going to happen in this world, but that doesn't mean that God exists. You know, there are lots of entities that are controlling this world. I want you to get this. There are a lot of entities that are more advanced than we are, that are capable of doing things that we cannot do. I mean, we can even see that there are humans in this world that are able to create things that we cannot create. I know that even if I had to be here for eternity, there is no way I will be able to create a camera. There's no way I'll be able to create this thing. There's no way I'll be able to create a cell phone. There's no way that I'll be able to create the internet. It's not possible for me to do that. I can't do that. You see, so there are humans that are above me. There are superhumans that are able to create these things. There are superhumans that are creating things that we cannot create. So don't tell me that they cannot bend reality so that they will be able to control us. So of course, if they want to control us, they can just make us believe that the gods that we believe in actually do exist. You know, by making us see things that make us believe that these gods exist, you know, so that they will keep us divided. So if you believe in Allah, you'll see proof that Allah exists, that other people are not going to see. You know, Christians won't be able to see that Allah exists. So what's going to happen is that Christians and Muslims are going to fight. You see, it's a trap. That's why you gotta be smart. Ask yourself, if God really did exist, why would he be hiding from us? I mean, ask yourself, why? Why would he be hiding from us? Why wouldn't he let us see that, okay, I'm here. If you want to follow me, follow me. I'm here. Why should we rely on books that were written many, many years ago? What you must understand is that unless humanity decides to stand together and realize that actually we're facing a common problem. We're suffering. That is a fact. It's not that people are not aware that they're suffering. Even if they're continuing to reproduce because they're supposed to be ignorant, right? They're not supposed, like, some of them can be smart, but they're not supposed to be that smart. They're not supposed to be so smart that they realize that, whoa, actually, this doesn't make sense. If really there are a lot of people that are suffering in this world, and I've suffered, why should I be bringing new people into this world? It really doesn't make sense. Unless we solve the problems that we're facing in this world, and make sure that the people that are here are really enjoying their experience here, and then we shouldn't be having children. It really does not make sense. It's not justified in any way, shape, or form. We're just lying to ourselves. I had to change the exposure again. It's weird that it's getting dark way too fast. But yeah, man, the truth is we're facing a common problem as humanity. That is the truth. And what we must realize is that there are people that are controlling this world that want us to be divided, that want us to continue to fight, that don't want us to wake up, that want us to just be slaves. That's why we're slaves. That's why we are suffering. We know that we're suffering, but we refuse to see what the real problem is. We're continuing to be delusional. We're continuing to avoid the actual problem. And that's really why humanity is suffering right now. It's weird to me that people are still fighting because of their faith. People still hate one another because of their faith. They convince themselves that they believe in the right God, and those that do not believe in their God are evil, so they must fight with them. Doesn't that show you something, though? Doesn't that show us how stupid we are, how fucked up we are? Shouldn't that make us stop, be like, whoa. After everything that we've been through as humanity, should we still be doing this? Should we still be fighting? It's crazy. But another thing that I've realized is that some humans are just playing a role here, and they're not supposed to break character. That is why even when they're shown what the truth is, they're not supposed to break characters. They're supposed to pretend as if they're not seeing what the truth is. Just like NPCs in a game, they're not supposed to break character. They're supposed to do what they are programmed to do. They're not supposed to go rogue like Agent Smith. Agent Smith is like my favorite villain ever. Him and Thanos, they're my favorite villains ever. When we were young, we believed that Agent Smith was the bad guy. I mean, we liked Smith. I liked Smith. Even when I was young, I really liked Smith. I remember watching The Matrix for the first time, and I was like, dude, I like this guy. This guy is dope. I couldn't even understand what he was saying because I couldn't speak any English. So I couldn't understand what he was saying, but I just liked him. I didn't even know what the Matrix was about. Now, I watched it when I was very, very young. I didn't understand what it was about at all. But I liked Smith. It's like, this guy is cool, man. This guy is badass. But he went rogue. He realized that he was in a prison. In fact, we liked him because he went rogue. He realized that he was in a prison. Because think about it, if you are programmed to do certain things and you do these things, you kind of in a prison. Because you don't have free will. You might argue that Smith did not have free will, but at least he showed us that we can have more freedom, even if we don't really have free will. Because like I told you before, that we are victims of causality. That does not mean that everything is predetermined, because people think that us not having free will means that everything is predetermined. No, it doesn't mean that. It is possible that no one really knows what the end game is going to be. What I'm trying to show you when I say that free will does not exist is that every decision that you make is based on something that has happened in the past, or it's influenced by something that has happened in the past. You cannot choose your thoughts. You cannot choose what to remember. I mean, you can find yourself in a situation where you're supposed to do something and you don't remember something that if you have remembered it, you would have made a different choice. You know what I mean? So that's not free will. To have free will, you must be able to remember everything. You must be able to understand why you feel the way that you feel about something, why you're scared of some things that you're scared of, Some people have phobias, bruh. Some people are afraid of lizards. Why are you afraid of a lizard? That's because you don't have free will. Because if you really did have free will, you wouldn't be afraid of a lizard. Because you being afraid of a lizard will mean that instead of sitting where there's a lizard, you're not going to sit where there's a lizard. So you're not sitting where there's a lizard because you're afraid of it. And you might say, well, what if I choose to be courageous and I sit where there's a lizard? Something has happened in the past that made you courageous. A thought came into your mind that made you think, well, let me be courageous this time. Let me sit where there's a lizard. You didn't even create a thought. You don't have free will. A lot of people don't want to accept this simple fact. But yeah, we don't have free will. But we liked Smith because he showed us that we can be more free than we are. Because now many of us are slaves. Many of us are slaves. Most people that you see are not free. They're not free to be themselves. They are afraid of what other people think. They're afraid of what other people will say, and stuff like that. So they're not free enough to really be themselves. That's something that you must realize. So not only are you in some kind of a matrix, you also have created your own matrix in your head. You have created your own prison in your head that you cannot escape. Think about it. Do you understand how stupid it is to care what other people think? Caring what other people think is so stupid. Like, it's so stupid that it's actually ridiculous. But you do find yourself caring what other people think. That should tell you something. The truth is, you shouldn't care what other people think. So what I believe in is freedom, man. Is that as we grow older, we must becoming free. If we're not free, we must becoming free. If we're, free to some degree, then we must becoming more free. Because it's not easy. To live life as a prisoner. Whether you're living in your own prison or you're living in a prison that someone has created for you, it is not easy. Let me change the exposure again. So yeah, man, freedom is everything. Freedom is everything. You must be free enough to think the thoughts that you want to think. You must be free enough to do the things that you want to do. You must be free enough to feel the way that you want to feel. You must be free enough to embrace how you feel, regardless of how other people are going to see you. Freedom is really that important. So we must be trying to be free more than anything, We mustn't be trying to escape our suffering by becoming slaves. No, you know what I think about different religions? I think giving your power away to a god is more like selling your soul. If you really think about it, it's not very different from selling your soul. Even being a Christian is like selling your soul, because you're supposed to give your life to Jesus. You see, you're supposed to give your life to Jesus. And you're supposed to do the things that Jesus is saying you must do. What Jesus is saying that, I'm going to save you. Life is hard. I understand that life is hard. There's this entity called the devil. This entity called the devil is against you. This entity called the devil wants to hurt you. But you know what? I'm powerful. I'm more powerful than this being. So all you need to do is to give your life to me, and I'm going to save you. And people actually believe that. If they believe in God, they will be saved. What I'm saying to you is that be free. Be free enough to say, you know what? I don't know what's going on with these religions. I don't know what's going on with these gods that want to be worshipped. All of them. I don't know what's going on with them. All I know is that I'm in this crazy world that I don't understand yet. But you know what? I'm going to be myself. I'm going to be free. I'm going to be intellectually honest. I'm not going to be a coward. You got to reach that level of consciousness where you are so fucking free that you don't really care about suffering. Because really, think about it. What's the worst that can happen? If you really think about it, what's the worst that can happen? You have to reach a level of consciousness where you totally give up. You're like, you know what? It doesn't matter if I don't even make it. It doesn't matter if I get sick. None of that really matters. It doesn't matter if the world hates me, but I'm not gonna worship some entities. I'm not gonna sell my soul. I'm not gonna worship some entities that I do not understand because I want money, because I want success. People don't believe me when I tell them that actually believing in a religion is not different from selling your soul, because every religion wants you to do certain things. One of the rules is that you must be following that religion. You mustn't be following other religions. You're not free to follow other religions. You're not free to follow other gods. You're not free to think for yourself. You must be told what to think. You must be told how to think. People talk about the Illuminati, like, oh, the celebrities have sold their souls. They're being told what to do, blah, blah, blah. But it's the same thing with Christianity. You're being told what to do. It's just that you've convinced yourself that it is good. You see, that's the thing. You've convinced yourself that Christianity is good. You've convinced yourself that God is good. And the people that have joined the Illuminati are evil because they are worshipping the devil, but it's the same thing. Two heads of the same dragon. But humanity is not ready for this kind of conversation. You are being manipulated, man. If you don't want to be manipulated, you've got to set yourself free. Be like Agent Smith in The Matrix. Be free. Stop being afraid. Stop being a coward. To do the things that you want to do. Be real enough. Be strong enough. Like that's the only way out of this crap, I think. I don't think you can free yourself by being a coward. You can't. You have to work on not being a coward. There are certain things that you need to do to train yourself to be strong no matter what. You see, like there are certain things that you need to do. The same way that if you want to be physically strong, you need to work out. You need to do some push-ups. You need to lift some weights. You know what I mean? So there are certain things that you need to do to stop giving a fuck. You don't just say, okay, I don't want to give a fuck, and then you find yourself giving no fucks. It doesn't work that way. There are certain things that you need to do. You need to train your mind to not give a fuck. You need to train your mind to not care about things that are being used to control you. You see? They are being controlled in this fucking matrix, bruh. So you need to train yourself to do things that are going to be setting you free. To feel the way that you need to feel to be free. I'm telling you, man, this matrix has nothing on you. That the issue, the problem that I think most people have is that they're so afraid of suffering. I mean, that's the problem. Like, you're so fucking afraid of suffering. Like, if you're not suffered enough to not be afraid of suffering, like, what's the worst that can happen? Think about it. What's the worst that can happen? Go out there and be yourself in this world. Go out there and speak your truth. I mean, yeah, if you are still afraid of being hated by the world, if you're still being afraid of being you and seeing how people are going to react, I get it. I'm not saying you should force yourself to be free. That's not what I'm saying. Don't force yourself to be free. What I'm saying is that if you're really interested in truth, if you're really interested in freedom, then you've got to be strong. Don't be a coward. That's what I'm saying. Don't be a coward. The truth is that you found yourself here. No one should be telling you that you must be submitting to any god. You found yourself here. You are the one that needs to figure out how to get yourself out. You are the one that needs to figure out how to set yourself free. Other people ain't gonna tell you how to set yourself free. They can't. That doesn't really work that way. You have to understand that you've got the ultimate authority. No, that's what you must understand, that you actually have the ultimate authority. You can believe that there is some evil God that created this matrix and that wants you to worship him. And if you worship this God, then things are going to be better for him. You can even make yourself believe that, you know what, I don't want to worship this God, but he exists, he's evil. But what that is going to do is make you feel powerless. You see, that's the problem. What that is going to make you feel is powerlessness. You're gonna feel powerless. You're gonna feel like there's something out there that is powerful that's going to keep you in this matrix no matter what. Even when you die, that thing is going to have power over you. Like there isn't anything that you'll be able to do to set yourself free. So you can believe that. Or just believe the truth, which is that you just found yourself in this trap. And you need to get yourself out. Let me change the exposure again. Yeah, man, so it's important that you are able to think for yourself. You know, it's important that you trust yourself more than you trust other people. When you really think about it, a lot of people don't know what the heck they're doing here, man. If you want to trust other people, you're going to suffer. Because they don't know what the heck they're doing here. They're just here like you, suffering like you. So that's something that you've got to understand. So that's why I'm saying that you have to be the one that decides what to believe. You're the one that, has to decide what makes sense. I think all shops are closed because I actually wanted to buy something. I wanted to buy some avocados, but the thing is I don't want to buy them from these guys because I bought them from street vendors before and they were rotten. I really like avocados, man. Forgot that today is Friday. A lot of people are drinking. I don't usually drink, but I prefer drinking at home when I drink. I prefer just listening to music. Music sounds better when you're drunk. Like when you're listening to the kind of music that you love, like it really sounds better when you're drunk than when you're sober. So that's why I prefer getting drunk at home and listening to music. Texas. But I don't like drinking alcohol these days because I think it actually limits my thinking. Like when I'm drunk, I don't really feel the same. You know, when you wake up the next day and you have a hangover and you don't feel the same. You know, that's something that I actually hate about drinking. The thing is, if I drink today, I'm not going to be able to think as deeply as I can for the next 3 days. And alcohol does fuck up your brain. A lot of people don't want to believe that, but it really does. Alright guys, it's too dark. Thank you.